Time to grow.
Hold on tight.
All right.
Get the seatbelt on.
Get ready for the $1 billion stratosphere, right? Welcome to Business Talk with Eric Chau, a show dedicated to startups and small businesses. This podcast explores people, events, ideas, and resources that are relevant and interesting to Main Street entrepreneurs. This show is sponsored by World Consulting Inc., the advisor on your side, helping your business go further, faster. Now, buckle up for episode number 12, where we got a heavyweight guest that is not just stirring the pot, but aiming to 10x the whole recipe. We're talking about the CEO of Mama's Creations, the maestro of meatballs, and the grandmaster of gastronomy, Adam Michaels. With a spice rack of experience in the food and beverage industry, Adam is steering Mama's Creations into the $1 billion stratosphere. Their products are practically doing the cha-cha dance in over 8,000 retail supermarkets across the U.S. Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's, Stops and Shops, Vons, Whole Foods, you name it. And guess what? Adam's got the keys to the culinary kingdom. And he's here to spill the beans, or should I say the secret sauce, on unlocking 10x growth, 5 must-do to shake up a multi-generational recipe for success. Whether you're on a hunt for the next CEO for your company, a consumer trend fanatic, or just seriously hungry to 10x your business, this episode is your golden ticket. So grab your favorite snack, maybe a meatball or two, kick back, and let's dive into the saucy world of Mama's Creations with the one and only Adam Michaels. Hello, Adam.
Thanks so much for having me, Eric. Super excited to be here.
Welcome to the studio. I think this podcast is turning into somewhat of a modern QVC show. Just a couple weeks ago, we had the Senor Sangria in the studio.
I heard that. That was a great interview.
Thank you. And they brought in a new blend of sangria with mixed with brandy, and that was delicious. And we tasted it afterwards, because of the compliance, right?
It did one up the game. I had to make sure I brought you guys some good stuff for afterwards. I had to, make sure we had the good stuff for you.
Yes, and appreciate the generosity of two grocery bags of Mama's Creations, and I'm like salivating over them right now. But thank you for being here, and we're really looking forward to this episode here. Let's see. Well, before we dive into our topics, Adam, you don't mind just share with the audience who you are, right? And also, how did you end up taking the top spot, the CEO spot at Mama's Creations? Or tell us a little bit story too, maybe, of the company itself.
No, I've just been incredibly lucky in my life. I found my passion early. I've been in the food and beverage space for quite a while now. We can talk more about it later, but I was at Nabisco for about 10 years before joining Mama's. And then I worked in a management consulting at a company called Booz Allen Hamilton in their food and beverage space. So I'm super lucky that
So you're a food guy.
I'm a food guy. I would rather have the lowest job at a food company versus the top job at a high-tech company.
How do you stay in shape, man? That's another
lot of running
podcast.
Around the
floor,
the factories. But yeah, so I've just been incredibly lucky. I grew up. I guess I'm a Jersey boy at heart. Grew up in Jersey, high school in New York, school in Philly. Then had the great opportunity. Now everyone's heard it. Is the company now with Capital One. But back in the 90s, I promise you, every time I told someone where I was going for my first job, they said, "Where?" Like,
yeah, they know Capital One because of Taylor Swift.
Right, exactly. This was well before being a Swiftie.
Before Taylor.
So I got to do that. Got to be in multiple countries. Very lucky with Capital One. Started in D.C. at their corporate headquarters, but then had a chance. Lived in Europe. Lived in London for a couple of years. Paris for a year. Then my real boss, my wife, said we had to come home. Worked down in Richmond, Virginia for a while. So got to do that at Capital One. Went back to business school in New York, and then got my summer internship, I guess, at Booz Allen, and the rest is history. I've been in the food space ever since, and I love it. Sincerely, my dream industry.
And you also had a pretty good stop at Mondelez, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mondelez, I was very lucky. Clearly, I wasn't doing very well because every 2 years they kicked me out of my job and put me into a different job. So I think I've sat on just about every leadership team in the company. So I started in supply chain, operations, marketing, sales, corporate finance. The last role, I ran all of our intelligence operations, so think consumer insights and category management and shopper insights. And then I ended up running M&A for North America for the last few years. And that's where, actually it was great. I had the great opportunity to, yes, I got to work in $1.5 billion brands like Oreo, $1 billion brands like Ritz, brands that my boys love with Sour Patch Kids. But then I also had the opportunity to work to acquire and then help grow small brands. You know, I think I had the opportunity to partner with Chau Chocolate. I don't know if you guys have heard of Chau Chocolate. You know, it was probably around $10 million when I first started working with them and joined their board, and then had the opportunity to fully acquire them and bring them into the Mondelez family. So I've just been so lucky. The experiences, the diversity of functions, the diversity of stages of their corporate careers. I've just been in love.
And share with us how when you came across Mama's Creations, right? What are some of the values that kind of fit into your
absolutely.
Your perspectives?
You know, so again, anything good in my life is my wife. She was the one that actually made the connection.
She's like, try that meatballs.
Right. So I had a first conversation with the board. I guess I didn't scare them away too much. And then I came and I did a couple visits of we like to call them kitchens. We have 2 kitchens. They're 30,000 square feet, but they're kitchens. And I came home to my wife and I said, if Mondelez was in Delhi, which Mondelez is not in Delhi, but if Mondelez was in Delhi, I would have acquired at the time it was called Mama Mancini's for Mondelez. Why? First of all, I'm very passionate about founder-led businesses. So there really is a Dan Mancini. I get to hang out with him all the time. It's his grandmother's recipes.
And he's on QVC all the time.
He's on
right?
QVC. I'm telling you, he's almost got his SAG card. He's on QVC so often. That's really special. I think that we had a differentiated position in the marketplace. We have all of our own manufacturing. You know, I've spent a lot of my career having co-packers and co-manufacturers, and it is a pain in the tail to be reliant on someone else to do a favor.
Yes.
Now we have 2 of our own facilities. We make everything in-house. If I really needed to make a blueberry flavored meatball right now, I'd make a phone call. Within 30 minutes, the kitchen would be able to make us, thousands and thousands of blueberry meatballs or, cranberry chicken, whatever you want to make. So it's really cool. So that differentiated piece is that second element to it. And I think the third piece that may have been missing before I got here, but now as a leadership team, we have aligned on and we're now flying, is just this super clear, compelling, consistent strategy of this one-stop shop deli solution provider. And that is unique in the marketplace. There's no one that does that today. So the deli space is huge. $45 billion category. It's interesting. I thought I was in big space. When I've played in the cookies and crackers, it was $12 billion. In-store bakery, $14 billion. Chocolate, $16 billion. This is $45 billion. It's huge. No market leader today. We take out... we talk about a $30 billion category. $15 billion is about, think of the old school sliced deli meats and deli cheese. We don't play there. That's actually a declining space in the deli. And the Boar's Heads of the world do an amazing job. I really envy what they're doing in that smaller space. But this $30 billion space of prepared foods, entertaining, no market leader. And I've been asking now all of our investors for a year, there is no other publicly traded company in the deli space.
you kidding me? There's no
not extra credit. You get an extra slice of extra piece of grilled chicken. There is no there's no publicly traded company. They're all, I can only name you 4. You're smarter than me, so you probably get to maybe 5 or 6, but that's it. billion-dollar businesses. This is an entire industry of mom and pop, $1, $2, $300 million businesses that make the best macaroni salad in the Northeast, and they're awesome at that. And they make enough money. They make lots of money for their family, right? I'll have to make sure my grandkids are okay, and I can take vacations when I want. I don't need to do any more. Whereas, I guess I'll say I'm lucky, right? Every day at 4 o'clock, the country tells me how well I did, right? Publicly traded under the ticker MAMA.
Yeah.
Every day at 4 o'clock, I get my report card, and every quarter, investor said, "What have you done for me lately?" So I don't get to take a month off. I have to be doing better and better. I have to keep growing top line. I have to keep growing. I'm very proud of what our team has accomplished when we came together last year on improving our bottom line. I don't get that time off. I don't, that's what is makes us really special. So macro trends, which I'd love to talk about, this differentiated positioning, and then this super clear, compelling, and consistent strategy. That trifecta is what's doing pretty well for us.
This is something that I think our audience really need to pay attention in terms of identifying the trends or the things that would help your company propel to the next level, and those what they call KPIs, right? I mean, those are things that they absolutely need to take a look at for whatever industry they're in.
The macro trends are critical. There's a famous Warren Buffett quote: when a manager with a great reputation meets an industry with a bad reputation, it's the industry that keeps its reputation, right? I don't care how good you are. I'm passionate about. I would much rather ride a wave than try to create one. I've been in the world of kombucha and refrigerator nutrition bars. It's hard. Like, you got to educate people. We acquired an amazing company called Perfect Snacks. Again, founder led, Bill and Lee Keith and their family, and it's exhausting. Wait, if I just take out if I take out the bar, am I gonna die if I eat it? Like, how long do I have? Our products are great.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me that I want freshly made, mama quality.
Grandma quality, yeah, absolutely. And everyone knows what's cool. It's really amazing. Again, this one-stop shop deli solution strategy that, when I first started, we had meatballs, right? And
yes, that's what you guys were known for.
We had a good sales team, and they went to the store, and if the buyer's boyfriend or girlfriend just broke up with them that was Italian and they hate all Italian things, like, I have nothing to offer.
Okay.
You know what? You don't like meatball? Now, so we made a couple acquisitions. We've expanded our portfolio. Hey, you don't want meatballs or sausage and peppers? No problem. I got grilled chicken. You don't like breaded chicken or chicken strips? Don't worry about it. I got green salads. You don't like green salads? Don't worry about it. I got Mediterranean farro or Israeli. You don't like that? Don't worry. I got Nashville hot paninis or buffalo chicken wraps. Nope, you don't like that? I got olives. So what's amazing now is our sales team has the ammunition. You should never leave a buyer without selling something. I have everything you need for your deli case. And just as a reminder, deli case.
And the convenience for the buyer, right? To deal with one source instead of dealing with 30 different invoices. That's one.
That's exactly the strategy that, again, no one's doing today. So, I should have stepped back a little bit. So when we talk about the deli, this is any store you go to, Whole Foods, Costco, as you mentioned earlier on, anything that's behind the glass, anything that's in the hot bar, anything that's in the cold bar, anything that's in the prepared food set or the grab-and-go set, that's where you would find our products. That's that $30 billion category that we're going after. And again, at least 4 times out of 4.
Man, you better slow down on these secret sauces, okay? Just hang on tight, all right? My goodness, we're not even into the first topic yet. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. Okay, so let's really dive into the first must-do. To shake up a multi-generational recipe for success. And as doing our prep call, you mentioned to me that looking back at your experience and your kind of your capabilities, right? You are a very unlikely CEO.
Wow, man, that's harsh.
That's what you told. That's what you told me. I'm just repeating it. Yeah. Like you wouldn't. It's something you wouldn't expect. Okay. So the reason I want to bring this up is because I'm sure there are companies out there, boards, right? That are looking for their next CEO, right? And I want them to really understand from kind of your point of view, what are some of the things that they really should look at in a person, that is qualified. Maybe they're not qualified on paper or whatever, but they have a certain skill set that are unique that can add value to the company.
Yeah, no, again, and I'll say this 10 more times. I'm just incredibly lucky that I found my passion. I've had people.
Passion in food and beverage.
Passion in food and beverage. And people in my life, mentors in my life that have taken a chance with me. So, I came into Mondelez. I got hired to do something called Integrated Business Planning, IBP. I got super lucky that actually Mark Klaus, he's now the CEO of Campbell's, so he was my first boss.
Oh, wow.
He gave me this opportunity. I didn't even know what IBP stood for. I had to look it up after I got the job, but seemed to have done pretty well. And even something like the insights role that I had, I ran all of insights for all of intelligence for Mondelez North America. I had no background in that. The M&A role I mentioned to you, it was almost by accident. Where find me another company that would hire an insights guy to run M&A, right? That's usually a corporate finance function.
Correct.
But I think that's I think that's two things. One, actually, I give Mondelez a lot of credit. You should be looking for companies, and this is what you mentioned earlier around macro trends. Aren't the best companies the ones that the consumer, like you're looking out, right? What's the Wayne Gretzky quote? I was successful because I went where the puck is. I skated where the puck was going.
Yeah.
That was our M&A strategy around where the puck was going. I think for me, and you asked the question about boards, and certainly I'm not presumptuous enough to help boards. I just had my board meeting yesterday, and at least they kept me around for another 3 months until the next board meeting.
It's hard not to, Adam, with the result you brought to the company. But I think
it's, I put a lot of, when I'm looking at, folks as well to come into the company, I'm looking for agility, right? The ability, first of all, there's IQ and EQ, which you know about. And for me, it's the agility to flex into different things. You're not going to know. I wish life was so easy that it's like, filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
You don't know what problems are going to come up. You don't know what opportunities are going to come up. And what you're looking for, or what I'm looking for in employees, are people that have that agility to flex to what's coming and to use past experiences. It's not one-to-one. Again, it's not fourth grade math or that my older son's studying for the SATs now. And the answers, the questions that they asked are in those 3 paragraphs that they did before, right? That's school. That's when you're a kid. The answers aren't there. You don't know where those 3 paragraphs are to get that answer. So that agility to understand and to take different disparate ideas and thinking to come up with the answer, those I think are the best employees. And I guess I'm lucky that my mentors and boards have seen that in me, and I've been pretty successful over the past few years.
You've been very agile with the
very agile
with their comments.
Yes, there you go.
And the feedback.
Yes,
that's amazing. So going back to must do number 1 is what I call unconventional hire. Right? Don't always look for the person that fits into your industry per se, but look for someone who could think outside the box. Right, who could be agile when changes come along. Right. So
you're not going to get big changes if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? What's the definition of insanity?
So in other words, don't hire a CEO to replace yourself. Hire a CEO to grow your company.
Yeah, that's going to add. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing.
Okay, amazing, man. I told you Adam talks fast. We're gonna move to the second topic, right? The second must do. All right. You obviously, I think the company and the board, made the right decision, putting you in the driver's seat, right, of the
I'll
company.
have you part of my review for the end of the year.
If it counts for any, just give me a call. But now it's time to get the right people on the bus.
Absolutely.
Okay, and in fact, I listened to a few of your previous podcasts. Okay, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
And you talked about how you really systematically brought in certain key people into the company. First starting out with your CFO, your first major hire, and then a controller, and then just recently the CMO, right, to help you really grow the company. So talk to us about how, what was your game plan when you took the job in the fall of 2022, right? And share with us the priority that you saw that needed to be fixed first before you could grow.
So absolutely. So I think there are a couple things. So the first one is, I'll tell you another secret that I'll tell, our boy is the best secret, not a very good negotiator, but so I started in September.
Yeah, because you always say yes.
I always say yes.
You say yes. You
yes
told
or
me
yes,
yes or yes, but.
You never say no. Yes or yes, but. You'll never get me to say no. So I actually started, I left Mondelez. We had just closed my, the biggest deal that I did, we acquired Cliff Bar. Oh. So we acquired Cliff Bar. They wanted me to start earlier. I was in the middle of a deal. We announced Cliff on Monday, and I think I resigned on Thursday. But I left on July 4th. I thought it'd be ironic, Independence Day. And my wife, made me promise that I'd take the summer off. I'm not very good at stopping to work. But so I was going to start in September. I had July and August to rest. And I don't know, within a week and a half, I started going into the office. But I said I wouldn't start until I hired my own CFO. Mm-hmm. But those 2 months of July and August where I got to go to work if I wanted to, take a day off if I wanted to, had no line responsibility. I got to find out where the bathroom was before I started. That was a huge win. Those 2 months were the best 2 months of prep anyone could ever do because I built out our plan. I literally created, I'm a dork, a 3x3 matrix of different projects that I wanted to do on importance and ease of implementation. Still have that page. I keep that with me every day. Created our 3C strategy.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that
That's
later.
Another secret.
But it's important
stay on.
that we know we were doing, and it was very methodical. It was very important for me. It could have been super easy, and I'm sure investors and everyone would have loved for me to go gung-ho on growth from the very beginning. Let's get into 1,000 new stores, this, that. We were losing money. When I started, the quarter before I got there, we had lost $700,000 in net income. Our gross margin was 12%.
That was back in 2022, right?
Yeah, this was the quarter before I started. That you can't run a business with those type of margins.
That's not a whole lot of free cash flow to reinvest into the business.
I don't know what free means, nor cash flow for that matter with those numbers. So it was really important for me that the rule was, I told the board, I'm not even starting until I hired my own CFO. Anthony Gruber, publicly traded CFO, amazing guy. Peter Monch, I'm literally thinking about leaving my wife for. I'm just in love with this guy. I have never felt so comfortable with my P&L as I do with that team. So first you get the foundation, right? So once I have a strong foundation, now I could build off that foundation. So first was the finance foundation. Next was the operations.
What was the numbers, the numbers that you saw, right, after you did the gross margin, whatever, was that because of operational issues or was it because of
it was
financial accounting issues?
Whole host of everything.
Okay, so you fix all that first. Your focus.
We're fixing all of that. But yes, we my first, again, this was my pre-weeks. So this was sometime in the summer. I got the balance sheet and literally the numbers didn't balance. So,
the balance,
assets,
the balance sheet is not balanced.
So, again, my wife will tell you, I have a interesting, sarcasm. So I went to this person, I said, what is this? And the person was like, it's called a balance sheet, you idiot. I can't believe they hired you and you don't even know what a balance sheet is. I'm like, no, shouldn't a balance sheet balance? So yes, there was lots of opportunities for improvement when I first started.
So it's both like operational
everything.
issues
So
and personnel.
We weren't pricing.
Yeah.
We weren't pricing. We weren't managing our costs. One of the first things I did. So again, I started in September. Our fiscal year, just because they try to confuse me. Our fiscal year is actually January 31st. So I told the team we are taking price, every customer, every product, and everything is going to be implemented before January 31st. And everyone's really nervous. I get it. Again, I've been in this business for a long time. It is really hard to price. I mean, there might not be a harder job in the food and beverage space than going to a Walmart and saying, I want a price increase. But, this was all they hadn't taken enough pricing, with all the COVID stuff. And literally, I will tell you, the only feedback I got from buyers, from customers were, why'd you wait this long? So we got all of our pricing. Actually, I tried to fire 2 customers, try to find another CEO that tries to fire their customers. One, I was successful. One, I took a 100% price increase. They still won't go. It's amazing. And you need to have the right price. Look at the costs. We had just acquired a company, and they were running as 2 separate businesses. We were literally sending 2 trucks to the same store on the same day, half empty.
Okay.
So, one thing that I know, you spoke about people, having dedicated focus makes all the difference in the world. We have an amazing woman that runs all of our logistics. She is crushing it. Since, when the 2 of us, we first started, the first quarter, we cut our logistics costs by 200 basis points.
Wow.
The second quarter we were together, 280 basis points.
2%. 2%.
2 full
quarter?
points.
Wow.
2 full points.
And then,
it's incredible. Why? Because first of all, what gets measured gets improved. We're maniacally focused on KPIs. And then 2 is we have dedicated focus. We have we have an amazing woman that does all of our accounts receivables. So this might be a unique concept, but when I sell something, I like to get paid for it. When I first got there were millions with a Z at the end. Millions of dollars that was 90 days past due. Now, we literally don't have anything past 30 days.
Okay.
What gets measured gets improved.
That's amazing.
And that's because of the dedicated focus we were putting on individuals, and we're building an amazing team. I will tell you right now, yes, our top line is amazing. Yes, our bottom line is astronomical. What I'm actually proudest of, what I told the board yesterday, the thing I am proudest of 1 year into this job is the team that we're building. That's what's going to outlast me. That's what's going to make the difference.
Correct. And that's really the must do number 2, right? Is hire people with a well-defined roadmap. And it sounded like
Awesome.
After you observed what happened, you had a pretty good roadmap for the people to accomplish the objectives.
Yeah.
So,
and now that we have the finance, now they have the operations, now we get to build the team. That's why we brought in Lauren Sella as our chief marketing officer, sales folks. I'm really proud of the sales folks we brought in. And now
it's time to grow.
Hold on tight.
All right.
Get the seatbelt on.
And get ready for the $1 billion stratosphere, right? By the way, we don't provide any investment advice on the show. This is just purely for education only. Okay, disclaimer. Let's get into the third topic, right? In fact, Mama's Creation. You guys operate in a probably one of the oldest industry there is.
Wow.
In fact, the New York City Cat's Deli, right?
Oh, Cat's Deli, yeah.
That's been around since 1888.
Really?
Okay. And now you can practically get deli from anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So how if you could just share with us some of the things that you have change, I'm talking about not just regular change, but radical change. Radical change such as changing your company name, changing your ticker symbol, changing your logo. Those are the things that people can see, right? Visible. You can talk about that, but on top of that, I want you to share with us what are some of the radical change you've done internally, okay? Aside from, I guess, the people that you brought in, right? So that's number three, radical changes.
First, we could tweak it to measured changes. The radical sounds a little scary. I think it was really important for me that we're on this team together. We're on this journey together. We're all pulling the wagon together. And actually, I was very intentional about, I didn't want to create radical change. That sounds scary. And
changing the company name is pretty radical.
It was, but we did it as a team. So as a leadership team, we decided and we saw the opportunity. We do, and I'm super proud, and we have the best meatball on the market. Dan Mancini could eat Italian every day. Probably my younger son could eat Italian every day. But I'm not sure. 21 meals a week, not sure. So we really wanted to open the aperture and have a differentiated strategy. Again, we saw in the past that if they already had, if the store, I'm making this up, Publix buyer's brother-in-law makes meatballs, are we going to be able to get into Publix? No. We had to have something that opened the aperture and provide, how do you get to $1 billion? You need to make sure the market is big enough, right?
Yeah.
So what's important is that we had the right aperture. So yes, we were going to be this one-stop shop deli solution. We decided that as a leadership team. We needed the name to reflect that. So Mama Mancini's is awesome. Mama Mancini's has not gone away. You see in front of us.
It's still on the box.
It's on every box. Dan is on TV, on QVC. Dan was actually on, you guys know Z100, Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. On Thursday, he was in the studio, so he was talking to them. He was feeding them. So that's not going away. But there's the power of the and, right? I was taught early, right? It's the and. And we make an awesome chana masala. I don't know if you like Indian chana masala, or we make an awesome orange chicken. We just had yesterday for the board, we were making these cool fajitas. You can't sell.
I like to get a board seat just to try all your food.
I know a guy that knows a guy. You can't sell Mama Mancini's General Tso's chicken. That's just. I'm a good marketer, but not that good.
Right.
So Mama's Creations, by changing the name of the company, opens that aperture that now our customers and our consumers know that you get the same great quality Mama Mancini's, Italian food. Now you can have that same great quality Indian food or Mexican food. We have BJ's is a great customer of ours. When I started, we had pretty much one item in the store. Now we have more than 10. We are making for them, cilantro lime shrimp. That doesn't sound very Italian to me, right? Or Mexican street tacos, or stuffed peppers. These aren't.
So you already 10x at BJ's.
We are. See that? Just 99 more to go. We're all set.
There you go.
Actually, we really have. BJ's has been incredible for us. We've probably done more than that this year. So it's important just to open that aperture.
That's so yeah, I definitely hear you, like that, having that I call radical change, okay? When you change your name, that's pretty radical, okay?
It's just a cool ticker. Isn't Mama a cool ticker?
It is. But I see the reason behind. But I'm curious, were there any pushbacks that you got from maybe not with the name, but anything else,
Absolutely.
And how you dealt with those pushbacks?
So I would be lying to you if I told you
give me one.
Everybody came in with open arms. Look, how we do, the name change, but we did it as a team. Our compensation, really important. So I really believe, I keep saying this, pulling the wagon together.
So you changed the compensation,
when we started,
the incentive, right?
Yeah. So when we started, there were literally people on the team that were paid a bonus to go to the right, and literally there was another person that was paid to go to the left.
Oh, okay.
Literally. We're now all together. So much so that every member of the leadership team, everyone has 6 goals. 3 of those goals, all 9 of us have. That means you could stab me in the back if you want.
So 3 team goals.
3 team goals.
3 individual.
And then 3 individual goals. Obviously, my ops guy is going to have different KPIs than my sales guy. But those 3 goals, that's half of our bonus. So you could stab me in the back if you want, but it's going to only hurt you as well because we're not all pulling the wagon together.
Right.
So something like that. And yeah, for 10 years, this company's been around 10 years before I got here. That was...
How was structure?
That was a big deal, changing, commission structures and everything, right? The most personal, sensitive thing, right?
You deal with their
is
money.
What's in your pocket. So I definitely, I don't think many people could argue that I trimmed around the edges. I went, right in. Why? Because again, the more I think about it, the more passionate I get about it. How do you run a business if you're not together? If you're not rowing the boat together? So that, is one of those examples of, I call it measured. I'm still, we do it as a team. We talk about how do we just keep getting better and better on grandma quality. One of the things that, my favorite meeting of the month, every month, is I have a grandma quality meeting. We just happened to have it this past Monday. And that's where Dan, myself, and our executive chef, Chris, get together every month. We try our biggest existing products to make sure they're staying grandma quality and try new items that Chris and Dan are putting together for us. And without a doubt, sometimes we've gone through, I'd probably be understating it, but we probably have over 300-400 different SKUs. Now, what's great is, the top 10 account for 80+%, but we have a lot of SKUs and we're sometimes selling those. We try them. You know what? Is this grandma quality? We're very passionate about the label. I don't use the word healthy. I actually don't like that word. We're clean. So if you look at our meatballs, literally ground beef, imported Pecorino Romano cheese, breadcrumbs, onions, parsley, whole egg. That is sorry, I'm lying to you already. Salt and pepper.
Oh.
6 items. That is 100% of what's in our meatballs. You can't get cleaner than that. That's what I'm passionate about. Our chicken, our grilled chicken, is second to none. We have.
I know your team has a thing about against the term restaurant quality.
No, shame on you. It is grandma quality. Let everyone else deal with lower level restaurant quality.
I hear you.
This is grandma.
I'm
going
to start changing my my choice of word as well.
And that goes back to, you mentioned your restaurants. That goes back to these macro trends that we spoke about earlier. I mean, we're winning today. And I'm not happy about this. Look, times are tough, right? People are going out less. They can't afford it.
Yeah.
People are eating in, and it doesn't matter how little money people have. People don't have 6 hours to braise their meatballs. Mom and dad are working. They come home. Now what you get to do, instead of, you go to a restaurant, you're fancy schmancy, but let's say, you have chicken parm or whatever. What is that? $19, $25 for chicken parm. A side dish, because sides don't come with it. A glass of wine. You have to take a taxi to get there. It costs you what? $25, $30 for a meal. I promise you, try our chicken parm, $9.99. Actually, it's usually cheaper. I want it to be $9.99. And you're getting grandma quality food. It's
amazing.
Incredible.
I can't stop talking about the quality of food because I'm about to open a box right now. But point taken. Man, we only got like 10 minutes left.
Okay,
man.
let's keep going.
We got to keep rolling. You talk fast and you talk good stuff. we got to keep it rolling. But the moving on to so going back to the point number 3, must do number 3 is radical change, right? You got to have something that will absolutely shift not just the action, but also the minds of the people that you work with.
And take people along for that ride. You do it together. You do it with them. You don't do it to them.
You're not a dictator. No. Dictators don't last, as we see.
I am one of 9 votes on our leadership team.
So moving into a topic, the must do number 4 now, okay? And it's what we have talked about earlier. It's called the 3 C's that you have implemented right from the get. And they are cost, control, and culture. And so far, the result that you and your team had delivered,
team
right?
effort.
So far is just a validation of that winning strategy. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, since you took over, right? Mama's Creation, has over delivered the guidance 4 consecutive quarters in a row. Stock had gone from about $1 to just shy of $4, right? I just checked yesterday. You mentioned your gross margin has improved from 12% to 30%. That's more than double. And everyone in the company is starting to breathe this 3 C's, right? Cost, control, culture. So share with us details. I want details. and maybe even talk about the kind of the struggle, if you have any, right, in implementing this 3 C's along the way.
Yeah, and I think everybody could have their own 3 C's or pick their favorite letter. I think the what's behind that is the clarity and focus, right?
Yeah.
Everything we have to do. Remember, I mentioned earlier over the summer before I started, I had 1,000 things on that page of all the things we're going to fix. It's got to fit within those 3 C's. You do 3 things, and you don't go on to number 4 until you do one of those first 3. So the 3 C's allowed us to focus. It allowed us, I actually meet with our extended management team every month. Everyone's clear on what the goals are. So when everybody's working, doing their own job every day, when I'm not there, am I doing the right things? Am I doing something to push forward those 3 C's? I think is really important. The controls piece. And again, you could see how I work. The controls piece were that first finance. Remember, I told you I don't do anything until I brought in a CFO, I brought in a controller. We need that foundation. Once you got that, you now have your costs. I can't run a business long term at 12% gross margins. It's focus. Now we're up to 30%. And then the culture is actually even more important than those first 2, because that's going to be the future, right? Anyone could have a good quarter. It's the culture that perpetuates that. 4 for 4. See, I think next month we have earnings. We go for 5, maybe. But it's really, really important that everyone's pulling the wagon together. You keep hearing me say that. It's super important. And we talk about the culture. We've put in for the first time ever. We actually did for the first time. We hired an amazing HR woman, Abby Meeks. We put in our first time ever. We did a full company engagement survey. 250 employees. We got, and this is where Abby has she likes to, play with my heart. We got 199 responses. So the first thing is,
out of 250. Wow,
that's incredible. If you get 10%, that's amazing. Ask any company. We got a huge.
Basically, they're telling you that they're dying to tell you how they feel.
But it's awesome. But of course, she couldn't lie to me and get one more person in there, right? That's just
199.
That's just mean. So yeah. So we'll get there. But yeah,
that's 80% participation.
80%, yeah.
Jesus.
200 or 250. 80%.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome. But what's important here, and this is something that I learned in my last role, you can't just do the survey. What we're going to do, actually, we have a town hall coming in December. We're going to come back to the team. First of all, share full transparency, all the results, and then pick 3 things. Everything in my life is 3. I guess, except my wives and my kids. Everything else in my life is 3. What are the 3 things that we're going to do? And guess what? 6 months from now or a quarter from now, we're going to come back to the team on how are we doing against the 3 things that we promised you to do. That's what's really important. It's about taking action on those things. But yeah, that is critical. That culture element about it's everything.
Yeah. That's great, man. Oh boy, I took tons of notes. Clarity and focus.
Clarity and focus.
All right. Well, we're down to the wire. One last must do.
Okay.
All right. Which number 5. Must do number 5. I think this is a big thing. It's lead with passion.
I need to work on that, right?
I don't know. Well, I mean, just from the last 40 minutes, right? I mean, if the audience doesn't realize like the passion you have for what you're doing, then I don't know what they're eating over on the other side. But you're very obviously passionate about the food industry, right? You spend a bulk of your career in it, and understand how it connects with people, right? You admit you wouldn't you would do this job without pay, which is not good. It's really not good to say. Yeah, well, I don't want to say it again, okay? But how do you translate this passion, into the world of 250 employees that you work with every day? Any particular way you communicate that? How often?
Yeah, I think there are a couple things, and I do it because I love doing it. It just so happens that it resonates with our employees. So the first one is I spoke about town halls. So
how often you have it? How often you have town hall?
At least once a month. It really, what we do is we ensure that for every big event, so we have earnings coming up, the next day, right? Earnings are usually, we do our earnings after market close. The next morning, first thing in the morning, we have a town hall because I want to, everything that's in my mind, I want my team to know. So those type things. Another thing that, again, it's just because I love doing it. I walk the lines all day. So that's how you stay thin. That's how I stay fit. Absolutely.
Take notes, guys. Walk the line.
We have two kitchens, we call them, 2 facilities. One's in East Rutherford, New Jersey. One's in Farmingdale, Long Island.
And how big's the kitchen? How big's the line?
About 30,000 feet each.
That's a lot of steps.
It's a big kitchen.
A lot of steps.
But they see me every day. They see me multiple times every day, walking in line just because I love to be with the team. And that's how I learn. That's how I realize. And then the third thing, and again, people make fun of me a lot, I try to do every job there is. I was very lucky in my Mondelez days. I had a great mentor that would, call me up at 2:00 in the morning, say, you have to be in the boonies of Pennsylvania to throw boxes or do route rides in New York. That's what I do at Mama's. So any job they let me do, I've packed trucks. I've done route rides on trucks. Actually, last week I was very excited. They let me, work the grill line a little bit.
What?
But Master grill. I want to do every job. We had my first month I was here. We had a flood in our office. I got them up. We're a team, so I want to do everything. So I have more empathy. I understand better what everyone's doing, so I can help them in their jobs.
Yeah, what you're doing now, Adam, reminds me a lot about what I read about Sam Walton. The great Sam Walton, who, when he first started, he literally walked the floor with everyone, and that would be his normal.
Multiple times a day. It's actually it's the first thing I do every morning.
Yeah.
I literally get into the office, put on my lab coat, put on my hairnet, and walk the line. First thing I do every morning.
That's amazing. Well, that passion explains why, the company is thriving. I know it's not where you want it to be, but it's
we'll get there.
It's going somewhere. It's going to a different place.
Yes.
And we're excited about that for you.
Yeah.
This is we are done with the 5 must do, but I have a kind of a bonus question.
There's a bonus question?
There's a bonus question for Adam here, because even actually before I knew that you were CEO of Mama's, right? I actually first knew you as one of the councilmen in the town that you live. I was like, oh, okay, councilman, how are you? And then I found out you were running this interesting company, and that's how we got, this opportunity to have you on in the
Johnny
show
Bang.
here. Thank you, Johnny Bang, if you are listening. But I wanted to ask you that because number one, I appreciate that your public service in politics. It takes a certain temperament, I think,
which I don't have. I'm learning it.
You are in it, so you better have it, right? The fact that you're running a publicly traded company, and you have a thriving family, right? First of all, how do you balance both of them and still have time to serve in your community at that capacity, right? I mean, you that's number one. And also, you mentioned to me that your mother was also from the public service, right? She was
Yeah, my mother was a teacher
retired school teacher. So I'm sure that has some influence over.
Huge influence. Probably part of the reason why I came in. I saw my mom. It's so important. So my mom had a huge impact on me. I think I've always been into service, and look, I could be selfish about this and say, what better place to invest my time, my I guess not free time, but invest my time than in my own community, right? Most important thing in my life, my boys and my wife, they're there. Biggest investment I've ever made in my life is my house. That's there, and it's cool to see the impacts that you have. And what's another thing that's a little secret, not so secret, is my boys come with me to most of the events, whether they always love the senior center pancake breakfast, or they like the food elements to it. But I hope not just by telling them to do it, but by showing them, they'll grow up and they'll give back to their community. So it's really important for me.
Absolutely. And the reason I'm asking you this question, because for the audience that are listening, right? I mean, these are mostly entrepreneurs, business owners, small business owners, right? Why would it be important for them, really, for all of us, and you mentioned something about our experience, right? Our capabilities, right? Our ways the ways that we can, the things that we can contribute.
Yeah.
Right. So why would it be important for all of us here?
To do service?
To service. Yeah.
I think it's, you should do it, your fifth point on do what you're passionate about. And I really do love it. I love seeing the results. I love making people's lives better. I love getting to drive down the street in our downtown and know that I helped add benches or
new roads,
the painting, new roads, very important. It's really cool. It's like events. One thing that we were able to do was during the pandemic, everyone in my town, it was this trifecta. Everyone in our town, Adam, how could I help? We raised some money. Our businesses were closed. Remember the beginning of COVID?
Yes.
So what we did, and everyone was, unfortunately, there are kids that are hungry in our town that aren't getting the meals. They would get them at school as part of school lunch. They weren't going to school. So I hit this trifecta where, one, I raised money. We raised almost over $75,000. Two, every single night I went to a different business and gave them $1,000. They gave me 100 meals. And then three, we got to give out those 100 meals. I mean, what cooler, what's more important in life than being able to feed kids? I mean, I think food insecurity is atrocious and should never be allowed with kids in particular. We got to feed kids. We got to give money to our businesses, and our residents felt good because they got to be a part of it.
Right.
Triple win.
Triple win. Well, thank you for your service.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, and we are about to wrap up here. This is, I guess, a bonus question. The last one.
There's a bonus question.
And this is a question I ask for every guest, so it's not so much of a bonus, but it's customary that we do. And let's say somebody from your town or whatever run into you, and that person happens to be maybe a budding entrepreneur, or wanting to start, or maybe a small business looking to 10x their business, right? So what would be one advice you can give them?
I think the biggest piece I'd say is, and it's 1A and 1B, but it's follow the macro trends. So it's really hard. Don't try to be. You want to be able. I like this idea of riding the wave, and the 1B is also find something that's sort of not. I don't know what the right word is, like off cycle. So coming up with a cookie, like everyone just eats cookies, something. Try to find a trend that outflank, right? Go back to the old war days, right? You're never as a startup, as a budding entrepreneur, you're not gonna be able to go head to head with Mondelez or Campbell's or Mars or Pepsi. Try to outflank them, right?
What is it something that they're not doing?
What is something that they're not doing?
Ask
yes.
what is something that the big whales
is a trend,
are not doing.
but you're doing it a different way, or you're doing something really unique. Like, what's your competitive advantage? You hear the term, it was literally, how's this? The first question I asked the board when they were interviewing me was, what's our right to win? What is Mama Mancini's right to win, and what's that reason to believe? And quite honestly, I don't know if I loved, I think they were searching for that answer a little bit. They had a great product, but what's the exact positioning? And that's why I loved the opportunity to come in, because I think I thought I could have added value. And I think, remember, macro trends, differentiated positioning, we had those first two. What was missing was that just super clear, compelling, consistent strategy of this one-stop shop deli solution. That's different. That's on trend, but a little bit outflanky. There's not another company that's doing that today. So hopefully that advice that I give to that budding entrepreneur, I'm actually saying it to myself, and that's what I'm doing here at Mama's Creations.
Awesome. Adam, appreciate you so much for being
thank
here.
You for
I
having
hope
me. This has been fun.
You got a lot of value out of this,
because I did. Now.
And let's go chow.
Thank you.
Ciao, guys.